Okay, I just wanted to start by saying if you're going to tackle doing an engine bay, it doesn't have to be a Fox body Mustang. It don't have to be any kind of Mustang, Honda, BMW. It don't matter. Full size truck. If you are going to smooth it or just prep it, just a factory engine bay to paint, I hope you don't like your fingertips. I hope you like your hands going numb while you're trying to sleep at night. I hope you like not being able to feel the end of your fingers, because that's what you're going to deal with. Sanding with 80 grit or even 320, it doesn't matter. 80 grit kind of tears up your fingerprints the worst. Kind of does them real raw, but even if you like wet sand with 320 or something like that, your fingerprints go away pretty quick. And man, trying to sand nooks and crannies and stuff, your hands it takes a toll on your hands. And I've been doing this quite a few years now. I feel old saying something like that, but I have, and my hands are still not used to it. It's not like you hear the old timers say, work with your hands in like construction or roofing or something like that, and they just turn into leather. That don't really happen, because you're kind of like sanding off all of the hard part of the skin each time you go and do this stuff. So it's always like new and fresh, and it stays tender. Kind of sucks. Not really kind of, it does suck, but it's part of it if you're going to do this stuff. But with that said, I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, well, I'm waiting on the mesh to finish the New Edge GT car over here. I'm going to start back on the Calypso car. And before I get too long and this needing to be primered, I'm going to go ahead and get the bumper and the hood ready also, so I can primer it all at one time. And if you remember earlier in the videos, I showed that the paint was cracking here. Well, I flaked it all off, and it looks like this hood's been painted a copper color before, and the paint just released from that copper color. Then it's got some bubbles. I don't know if you can see them right through there. Got some bubbles there, so I'm going to hit it with some 80 grit and feather this part of it out, and that should take care of that. Put some primer on it, and the hood will be ready. And then I'll grab the front bumper back there and repair it. So that's what I'm doing this morning. I've started feathering this out. You can actually see that whenever this was painted, the Calypso color, that's not what's actually separating or anything. It's actually looks like the clear is separating from the base coat of this copper color that's underneath. You can see where I've started sanding it out, that a couple bubbles have popped up, chipped away while I was sanding it, feathering it out. And then it's probably going to do the same thing out through here. You can kind of see where I've scratched it now. And it's also got a run through this valley of the scoop right here, out through here. But either way, I wanted to show you that it's actually coming from the clear coming off of the base coat of the copper color. That's where it had failed, not anything to do with whenever it was primered or painted the Calypso color, because you can see it's clear, the base coat, primer, clear, and then base coat of the copper color. So I got it all feathered out, and I almost forgot, but the place where it was hitting the windshield wiper that they clearanced, that the customer wants filled back up, I almost forgot about that. So We'll mix me up some fiberglass. Already got me a little bit of mat to go in it to build that back up and take care of that. All right, I spreaded some of the Z glass on a few places on the engine bay here. It's dry because after I spread it, the mesh for the grill delete, well, not the grill delete, the mesh that he wanted in the back of the grill delete that he ordered, or well, I ordered. But put the grill delete in, Mach 1 grill delete, 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 delete. Put the mesh in the back, put the bumper on. It's good to go. I did notice one thing: the hood and the bumper most likely was painted at some point together, because if you can look at the fenders has got a real dark purple flop to it that the hood doesn't, and it kind of turns green certain angles. So I'm not too sure about what this color is supposed to look like factory, but the hood and the bumper match each other. The hood and the fenders don't match too good at all. It's more of a green to the blue, but whatever. It probably ain't even noticeable out in the sun. It's these LED lights that mess with you pretty good inside here in the shop. But I also fixed the crack on the back side of this bumper and the tag light holes. I fixed them also. Put some fiberglass resin and fiberglass mat on the back of them here. I've used a few different things. I've used some universal type glue that's supposed to be for plastic, and it don't really stick to this type of urethane. You can kind of just peel it off after you put it on there, even if you grind it or anything, because when you grind this stuff, it kind of just like smears it instead of putting grooves in it. So I'm using fiberglass and resin on this. You can't really melt this stuff together like you can the newer black plastic bumpers. Them cracks and holes are pretty easy to fill, but these are a little bit more difficult. So I've used a few different ways, and it seems like the fiberglass resin and mat seems to work the best. So it may come back later on, but this is the best way I know to fix these, and try not to put as much pressure on this stuff as you can. But I also fixed this, put some fiberglass and resin and on the notch out place for the wiper that they done, and then grinded it all down and then swiped it with I had a little bit extra of that Z glass, and swiped it with that, and I'll probably end up putting a little bit of filler in it. I'm going to send him a picture, ask him if he wants me to do the same thing with this crack down here. The only thing is down here, there's not much holding it to begin with, so I don't know if my repair will last down here. You can't see this. It gets a what do you call it? A chin spoiler that goes across the bottom here, so you ain't gonna be able to see this at all. But I don't know. He may want it fixed, and if he wants it fixed, I'll take these rivets and the backing plate off the back, and I don't know. I may try and glue some kind of plate to the back side to fix this crack, because fixing it with the fiberglass, I'm not sure if it'll last or not, because there's just not much there to hold it. But that's where I'm at. Owner may pick this up tomorrow. I'll send him some pictures, so we'll get that out of the way and get some more done on everything else. All right, guys, this morning I'm in the engine bay of the Calypso car, sanding filler got filler spread on both sides of the aprons and the strut towers and everything. I'm going to be blocking this. It should, after I get all this Z-glass blocked, I should be able to use the Rage Gold regular body filler that I use on some low places that are going to still be left, just small low places. I'll use that on there, and then once this is blocked and ready for primer, I'm going to go in the booth and block the Nova and get it sprayed with another coat of primer. I've been working on other things and haven't got the Nova primed yet. That's the way it goes sometimes. Some stuff comes in that's quick and you got to get it in, get it out, and then once you do that, then go back on your long projects, and that's the best way I know to do it. So I'm going to get this knocked out and start blocking on the Nova, get it primed, and yeah. Once I get a little bit further, I'll video some more. Okay guys, I've got what should be the last skim of filler in the engine bay of here. Everything's coming out nice and smooth, looking real good. Just a little bit left of blocking on it, and while that's drying, I just spread the last bit on it. And while it's drying, contacted the owner a couple days ago about if he wanted me to repair this, even though you couldn't really see it. He said for sure, repair it. So I took the plate off, prepped it. You can see I made a valley in there, so when I put the glass and the resin, it can go down in there and should make a good filler on the outside. And then once I got this and it's hardens up, I'm going to flip it around and put some on the back side, because this will get sanded down. I'm going to leave as much material on it because, like I said, it's not got very much structure down here at the bottom, and you're not really going to see it. So if it humps a little bit or something like that, I'm not too worried about getting it super flat. Just I want strength here so it don't crack back again. So I'm going to put some fiberglass on it. Them are pretty well filled up. I may put just a little skim over it just to cover a pinhole or two. And you know what? I am going to fill these holes too, because it's part of the tag bracket. I didn't notice that, but yeah, there's holes underneath of it for the tag bracket also. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill them up too. And that'll do it. Hopefully I'll get this ready, this knocked out and that knocked out today, and hopefully start sanding on that Nova today. If not, I'll start sanding on the Nova tomorrow. This will be ready for primer for when I get the Nova out. I can primer it, and I'll try and do some body work on the filler work on the 65. It don't need too awful much more, and that way it's ready for primer too. So that's what's going on today. Okay, I glassed the front side first, and you want to glass the front side first because it'll hold it together for you, and you don't want to grind it just yet. When it dries, you want to grind the back side of it, put you another valley in it just like that, and then glass this side, and then you can, when it dries, then you can go and start grinding this down and start finishing this side of it, because this is going to be your finish side. The back side is going to be your strength side. So if you do the back side first and it dries, and then you go and do your front side, well, then you're having to wait until it dries to start doing your finish side out here. And it works better to do it this way. That way you can get onto this quicker than if you do it last. But I prepped the back side of the holes for the tag light like I did the two on the top. doing the two on the bottom too on this session. So I'm going to get ready and fiberglass this now. All right, got the glass on the back side of the bumper here. The two holes are filled. Crack in the 4 holes are filled on the back side here. So I'm gonna let that dry. Got a mess of Bondo dust over here, but Winston, you're gonna have Bondo dust feet, Bondo dust paws. You're gonna have paw prints everywhere. Yeah, you're gonna get dirty out here, and you just had a bath. Yes. All right, but I've got pretty much all of it all nice and smooth, blocked out, ready for primer. So it is good to go. Most of your filler and stuff that you put on here, you're going to sand back off, because it's not like you're really filling dents. You're just kind of smoothing up all the imperfections in the metals inside here. And what I like to do on these frame rails is make sure you don't have Bondo build up on the edge of the frame rail, because you got to figure this is the engine bay. You're going to be putting a motor in here. You're going to be working on it, changing spark plugs, doing whatever. If you drop a tool or something, you don't want it to hit this edge and bust out filler. I mean, it may nick the paint, it may dent the paint or whatever, something like that. But you don't want it to bust out no filler or anything like that and cause it to look any worse than what it's going to do by chipping paint or something like that if you drop it. So I want to make sure that there's no filler on the edges of the frame rails, or any edge for that matter, that you can get by with. But other than that, the top of the radiator support and everything is smooth, and I don't know if I even showed on camera, but there was even some holes on the front that I welded up and smoothed them up. All these squares, stuff bolts into them, so I'm not gonna mess with them. I am gonna take this bracket off and sand it separate, and sand behind it, so don't worry about that. But yeah, the only thing really left to do now is cut this lip off like he wanted, to give him a little bit extra room there. It's not going to require no filler work or anything like that. Just cut it and grind it a little bit, make it smooth. I'm not gonna cut any of the spot welds that they have out, so I'm not gonna have to weld it solid or anything like that. What I may do depends on what it looks like after I do the grinding and the cutting. I may put some seam sealer through it, just so it may look a little bit better like that. So seam seal all these cracks I won't do until after my priming and sanding, because you don't want to get into your seam sealer while you're sanding. So your seam sealer goes on last before you go to paint. That way you don't get into it and it stays looking good. So I'm going to cut that lip out, grind it, get it ready, and then take this bracket off, and then it's basically ready for primer. So I'm going to go into the booth and start sanding the Nova. That way I can put primer on it and get it out, and put this in there to prime it and get it ready for paint. Okay guys, I got all my filler spread and sanded down, blocked down, ready for primer on the front bumper. Got the spots there, the hole's gone now. Where was that spot at? Yeah, right there. Got the crack looking good on the outside of there. Got the hood all feathered out. You can see just how big of an area them bubbles, just how big an area I had to take down to get all them bubbles that was in it out, and then the edge that was notched out for the windshield wiper. arm is ready for primer now too. There was a run right here. It's actually in the copper color. As you can see, the run, if it was in the clear or the green Calypso color, where the run, you can see it, would still be the Calypso color, but where it's this copper color, that lets you know that the copper color was at the actual run, because you took the Calypso color off first and got down to it before you got to sand around it. What you doing, Chase? You being a good boy? Being a good boy? And as far as the engine bay, I gotta do a little bit of scuffing. Other than that, it's ready for primer. As you can see, I took a good bit of that pinch weld on the firewall off. Turned out really nice. Should give a little bit more room to it. And then everything else is ready for primer. Just I probably won't put no primer back in here because it's a pain to sand. So I'll probably tape the underside of that lip and hang some paper down, plastic down, and then just prime my aprons and stuff, but not this back here, because there's nothing really wrong with it. And then I don't want to have to sand it and then sand primer for no reason, so I'll keep some primer off of that, but prime everything else. I'm gonna clean the bottom down there. It's a little greasy and stuff, and then I gotta take this piece off and sand behind it too. But that's gonna do it for today. I gotta go inside and write an estimate. So first thing tomorrow morning, I'm gonna start blocking that Nova and get it knocked out. All right, I pretty much got everything blocked on the Nova that I'm gonna be blocking, other than down here at the bottom. The top I'm not going to block because there's no sense in putting primer on it when it's already straight. So I'm going to sand it on the next go around. So no sense in sanding it now and then just priming it. Just be wasting primer, because it's all straight up there. There's no body work that was done up there, so no need to waste anything. I gotta sand this back here, the taillight panel, but the sides, it blocked out real nice. Really happy with it. Down here at the rocker and the lower half of the door, lower part of the door, gonna have to still block it. But other than that, it's real close to putting another coat of primer on.